Whoa! So for all the podcast listeners, this wasn't quite as funny as anything. It was just really unfunny because it was just, I think, loud, wasn't it? But yeah, today we're going to talk about learning things and the skill of learning things, I assume. And you seem to be able to learn things in 20 hours. As they claim, as the ideas.ted.com website claims. But I don't know if this is right, but I'm looking forward to see whether it is right or not. But more after the goddamn motherfucking intro. And I'm so freaking pumped, I'm so pumped, I wasn't recording yesterday, interestingly, because I had 2 videos that I, produced, I don't know, like 2 months ago or 1 month ago or something. And I've uploaded them, because I had to do something different or something else. And it was pretty great, because I had 2 videos. I didn't have to do anything. But I actually was really looking forward to making these videos, yesterday and today. It is insane. Like, I've been waiting until my phone actually just charges up again and or boots up again because, it didn't have any juice. And it was just insane. Like, I wanted to record and it fucked me. It really fucked me. But yeah, this is not what the episode's going to be about. But as I've said already before the intro, it is going to be about learning things, And also it's going to be about the ideas.ted.com website, which is great, because I haven't been on this website for quite some time, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing, what there is. If this is going to be a good article, if this is going to be a great article. I assume and hope that it is going to be a great article. But yeah, as you can see on the left side, there is the article, and this is written by Mary Helton. I assume that I've already read some of her articles, actually, because I assume, because somehow it is just feeling very familiar to me. So yeah, this is from the We Human section and from January the 2nd, 2019. Don't have 10,000 hours to learn something new? ? That's fine. All you need is 20 hours. And there's already a new nice illustration there from Surya. It is amazing. Or Surya. It depends on how you pronounce it because I don't actually know. I assume it is Spanish or Mexican. Or is there actually Mexican, or do people in Mexico speak Spanish? I assume actually, but I think there is Mexican. Never mind. The thing is, I'm going to go ahead with this article. If there's just if I've been talking shit there, I'm very sorry if I've insulted some Mexican people. I didn't want to. I really didn't want to. Just to say. So writer Josh Kaufman, it is actually a German name, but yeah. Shares his own tried and tested technique to learn a new skill by putting in just 45 minutes a day for a month, which seem to add up to 20 hours, I assume. Must be. Has to be. Somehow. But yeah. So every weekday for the month of January, TED Ideas is publishing a new post in a series called How to Be a Better Human, containing a helpful piece of advice from a speaker in the TED community. To see all the posts in the series, click here. As always, the link to this article is going to be down in the description. If you want to check it out, read it on your own, or just, share it with a friend or whatever, then you're going to find all the links that are necessary in the description, or the podcast notes, or also the description of the podcast. So wherever you are, you're going to find them, You're going to find those fuckers. Yeah. So we all have them. The lovelorn musical instrument, the dusty sports equipment, the barely cracked language texts, the overlong trousers that have lived in our closet for half a decade and that you're going to teach yourself to hem any day now. Wanting to learn something new comes from that best, curious part of us. But then we have to put in the work. When it is day 3 on the keyboard at the cat walking across the keys still sounds better than us, we can get discouraged and often give up. Writer Josh Kaufman, author of the first 20 hours, How to Learn Anything Fast, And the personal MBA, Master of the Art of Business, has figured out why so many of us get stopped in our tracks during this early learning period. Feeling stupid doesn't feel good, and the beginning of learning anything new is feeling stupid, he says. And it is definitely something. And you know what? It reminds me on something, or of something. Something that again, Seth Gordon said. As I've been talking about Seth Gordon on Thursday, because today is Saturday. Yesterday I haven't recorded anything. And there is a reason why we often buy canned stuff or things in a bottle, whether it be just some pre-made tomato sauce, whether it be, other things that are pre-made or pre-prepared. And there's a reason why we buy them, There's definitely a reason why we don't choose to cook it our own or cook it on our own. Besides the whole fact that maybe you are in a rush, maybe you are in a hurry, and maybe you do not have the time to actually cook something completely on your own without relying on some pre-made stuff, which is totally fine, I guess. Like a lot of people do. It might not be the best thing, just because I also believe, and also something that I feel, cooking is quite some fun. I like cooking, to be honest. I really like it. I don't know why I like it. Maybe it's just like I'm doing something, I'm making something, and I like eating food. Like, it is what it is. Maybe it comes from that place, could also be the case. I don't know. The thing is, I like cooking, and I'm also looking very, very forward to cooking today, because I haven't eaten my breakfast, because I'm fasting, and well, in the end, I'm actually not really thinking about the fasting thing. I'm merely thinking about nothing, to be honest, because I'm not eating something in the early mornings when I'm just waking up in the weekdays or on the weekdays, and now on the weekend it is like, it's gonna happen. It is what it is. I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, but I'm still really looking forward to cooking myself something, and still it is really discouraging if it is really like, you're cooking yourself something, and in the end it isn't tasting pretty good because you have tried something new or whatever. It can be very discouraging and also very time consuming, which is the only thing that I have to, that I have to say is a little bit bothering me, in terms of cooking, because it really is consuming a lot of time. There's nothing to deny about that. But to come back to Seth Gordon, he said, we buy canned stuff because we don't want to feel stupid when we are preparing something. And it makes sense, I'm just buying a pre-made sauce or pre-prepared sauce just because I know it's going to taste good. Just because I'm going to open it and then I have a sauce, and there's no feeling of stupidity that might be coming to me, Because making a sauce on your own, which first of all might consume a lot of time, but second of all it depends on the sauce you're buying, might be pretty difficult, because sauces are really not such an easy thing, to make them thick enough, to make them maybe fluid enough, and all those things, tasty enough, just fat enough, not fat enough, or just light enough. There are so many things, there are really a lot of things, and I assume that people actually can feel stupid, even though it might be something, and in the first place, I was also like, feeling stupid? ? Do we really feel stupid just because we are unable, quote unquote, to cook ourselves something? But I really get it now. Like, it makes sense to some degree. But yeah, so through trial and error, he has come up with 4 steps that can help you scramble up the sharp slope of the learning curve in as little as 20 hours. Why 20? As he puts it, 20 hours is doable. That is about 45 minutes a day for about a month, even skipping a couple of days here and there. It sounds really great, to be honest. Like, it really sounds great. Like, 45 minutes a day is something that I have to say everybody has. If it is an hour, people may be gonna think like, I do not have an hour. This would be my working out hour, or this would be my cooking hour, or this would be my resting hour or something. But the thing is, 45 minutes, even though it is really not, that less than like an hour, like it's 15 minutes, it's quite nothing. Even though I have to say, like, in 45 minutes, you can actually do a lot. you can really do a lot. And I've been managing, to be honest, to just really do a lot in an hour, or also 45 minutes, something that on some days might have taken me just, I don't know, 2 hours even, or maybe 1.5. Something. So, if you're conscious about it, 45 minutes is basically quite a lot of time. But yeah, let's actually go through the actual process of doing it. It is, as you can see, quite a short article. I've chosen it on purpose, because I like to provide value. This is what I love, and this is what I know that I'm able to do here. But I'm not such a reader. I don't know. I like to talk, and I even think that I like to hear myself talking. Even though it really sounds a little bit arrogant, it really sounds a little bit like, what is wrong with you? It is just, I don't know. I think it is just what it is. I can't do anything about it. Maybe I could. So yeah, the first step is break down a skill into its components. The first thing you need to do is to decide what you want to learn and then break it down into smaller, manageable pieces. Let's say you want to bake your own bread. It is a multiple step process that includes making dough, letting it rise, punching it down, shaping it into a loaf and baking it in the oven. You will start by identifying the different tools and skills behind each step. Or if you choose yoga as your new hobby, begin at home with a video that shows you the basic poses and breathing techniques, and then go try a class. It's actually a pretty good process, something to just point out because I'm seeing it. Trying it out on your own at first, which definitely saves you a lot of money, and we definitely have the ability to because, you might have some yoga mat or something, or you might have at least a carpet, something that is not as hard as the ground is or as your floor is. And we all have YouTube, we all have internet probably, and it is fine. It is totally fine. So yeah, quite a good thing. It saves you a lot of money, and this is what I'm aiming for. The second point is, or the second step is, learn enough to know when you're making a mistake. Get 3 to 5 resources about what it is you're trying to learn, says Kaufman or Kaufman. I'm really not good at pronouncing these names. It could be books, it could be DVDs, it could be anything, but don't use those as a way to procrastinate. After all, you won't learn how to bake a bread or do yoga unless you break out the flour or yoga mat and do something. Definitely the truth. Definitely the fucking truth. Set a limit on the number of resources you're consulting. There's no need to buy every book or watch every YouTube video on the subject. There is time to do that later and jump in. Very, 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 very important point. Because the thing is, we often get caught up in the learning part. We often get caught up in the just getting the information part. And in the end, it restricts us from actually doing the work and actually trying to do what we have learned just before, or trying out what we have learned before. And it is really often the case. And I think people can see, it is the same thing if you're just listening to motivational speeches, if you're listening to people like Gary Vee, if you're listening to a lot of, it might be even the exact same thing with this one. You might be listening to this podcast, or you might be just watching this video, but you decide to not do anything about it. And it is a really, really common problem, and a really big problem for me, because I really want to bring people to do something. And I haven't figured out yet how to do it really. And the thing is, from an outside perspective, or from an outside kind of just impulse, there is no way you can just get somebody to do something. But you can be like, okay, I try to change someone internally so that they do something about it, which then in the end is an external factor changes an internal factor, and this internal factor then in the end leads this person to doing something, But alone, an outside thing, an outside factor is not really able to do something, when somebody comes up to you and says or tells you to, I don't know, read a book a day, and you don't feel it internally, you won't gonna do it. It is what it is. It could be the president of the States, and you wouldn't do anything about it. It could be I don't know, just the Dalai Lama. Is he alive even? Or did he already die? I hope not somehow. The thing is, yeah, the outside factors or outside kind of forces only can change internal forces, which then change your behavior or change how you do or change if you do something or not. But really no different way. But yeah, try to not focus so much on getting the knowledge or just gathering the knowledge, achieving the knowledge, whatever it is, I don't fucking know. But really focus on doing things. I would rather say that you should be having 2 sources and reading 1 book and then do something about this 1 book than reading 200 books and doing nothing about them. Because it is like pretty unnecessary. It is really unnecessary. Even though I really believe that it could actually get to such a subconscious thing. Like you're reading a lot on self-help and subconsciously you're just actually using that knowledge, but not consciously. And I don't know, like it could be a thing. I'm imagining it, that it could be a thing, but I don't know. Like in the end, I don't know, it can't be, or I can't be really sure if this is really the case or not. But yeah, let's actually go ahead with the third and nearly the last one. Remove any and all barriers to practice. This may require stowing away your electronic devices while you tackle your hobby, or get creative and combine your favorite distraction with your new creative or activity. In a TEDx Pen Talk, behavioral scientist Catherine Milkman advocates a technique called temptation bundling. Pairing something you love to do something you're trying to get yourself to. Turn on your favorite podcast while you bake, or you could turn your weekly coffee with a friend into a weekly at-home yoga session with the 2 of you. Makes sense. Really makes sense. But I somehow feel like there has been actually the opposite kind of way as well, like combining something you absolutely hate with something that you like, which then leads to something. I can't even tell what it leads to, because it just, as I'm thinking about it, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like it really does not. But I think it was even from Tony Robbins. But I have a funny feeling that it is. But in the end, I'm not quite sure. I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure. Therefore, I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not sure. Maybe you look it up on your own if you're interested in it. But there was something about it, But I think also back in the days, or on that particular day where I think read that article, because I think it was an article, it was like, what? It was really like, okay, I really don't get, what he's just, in the first place. I think in the second place it was like, okay, now I understand it. It makes somehow sense, but I don't know. It could also have been the case like, okay, I really don't know what he's talking about there, but it could also be the case like, okay, I fully understand, what he's aiming for. But yeah, as I've said, I don't know. It's been a relatively long time since then, I guess. He looks like Seth Gordon, doesn't he? Like a little bit, Maybe just because of the clothing. Even though, Seth Gordon isn't like wearing a lot of just... Well, he's actually often wearing a lot of cool things, to be honest. Like some... I don't know what they're called. Like the thing that he's having around his neck. Like it is a common, elegant thing you're probably most of the time wearing with a suit. A tie? Yeah, it is a tie. He's wearing a tie, and Seth Godin just sometimes is actually wearing a pretty great tie in terms of it is so bright, and colorful and whatever, on purpose, but it is on purpose, I assume, because he also seems to be a really arty guy. Like he also seems to have a clue about design, about like just designing things, aesthetics, and all those things. And I admire that as well. I admire him as a person in general, but also I admire that. The fourth point, the fourth step. Practice for at least 20 hours. To overcome what Kaufman calls the frustration barrier, the period in the beginning when you're painfully incompetent and you know it, and this is the most important part, that you're incompetent. It is not about like, people tell you and you're not actually believing it, but you yourself know that you're fucking incompetent and you're actually not able to do what you're willing to do, at least at this point in time. So you must commit to sticking with your new activity for at least 20 hours. By that point, he says, you will be astounded at how good you are. And I also think so, like 20 hours is something. Like it might not even be a full work week, but it is still something. You can get to somewhere. And the thing is, he's also saying at least 20 hours. It is not like, after 20 hours you're gonna stop doing whatever you're doing, but you're gonna practice just anyway. You've been constantly just doing this shit, doing your new hobby in those 20 hours. But afterwards, I assume, if it is a lot of fun for you, you're still gonna keep doing it and you're gonna progress. You're gonna just, still be doing it. Gonna still just work on that. And you're not gonna stop. I at least hope, unless it is actually something that is something that you don't like, then it is totally fine. Like, stop it, do something else. Doesn't make any sense, especially in your leisure time, doing something that you really hate. Like, that definitely doesn't make any sense. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. But this is actually the end of this article. Unfortunately, even though I feel a little dizzy because I've been talking quite a lot on such a high energy level that is like insane sometimes. But I don't know. I really do not want to end the episode there. Even though I'm recording the other episode just right afterwards, I don't know. Like, I'm not feeling like ending this. Even though there's been quite a lot of value, I at least hope. I think I nearly throw something just off of my table. Would not have been pretty good. Would not really have been pretty good. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the episode because I do not want to stretch it out because you probably have to do something else today, So I don't know. I might be stopping it right here. If I'm not stopping it, there's probably not gonna be anything just really valuable after this point of time. So just feel free to leave, I guess. Feel always free to leave. Like, if there's something that I'm talking about you're not interested in, and I'm talking about so many different things, then I totally understand that people are leaving and people are like really not that interesting. But I'm gonna end the episode. I really have to thank you for going through this with me and or listening to me and watching me, whatever you were doing. I really appreciate that, and I'm really glad that I'm able to do what I'm doing here. It is just I'm really grateful for that. It is just insane how happy this is making me. And I wish you the best. I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success. But I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're gonna be remembered. So basically, your legacy, because and I know we totally have it in our control. We can shape our legacy, but in the end, it is also like, no matter how nice you are and no matter how generous you are, there's still going to be someone that maybe hates you, because of some various reason. It might not even be because of you. It might be because of them, or at least doesn't like you. It is what it is, and I don't know if there's something we can change about that, but there's going to be some haters anyway, no matter what, I guess. But I hope there's been something of value in here. And I also hope that you're going to just think about your purpose and questions that might help you for that is, or are actually, what are you trying to achieve? Why are you on this planet? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? And I actually think that the last one is the best one, because then you actually have a business idea and you know your purpose. Maybe. Not for sure, but maybe. But well. I hopefully gonna see you the next time. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the channel, the podcast, and also the YouTube channel. So subscribe, and subscribe to the podcast and rate the podcast. Thanks a lot. I see you the next time, hopefully. Bye.